Hello, my name is Corrine Contreras. I am at Calvary Chapel, Corona, and I facilitate the He Restores My Soul ministry there at Calvary, Corona. Thank you, Silent No More, for having me today. I'm going to get right into my story. I was not raised in a Christian home. I was taught that you would never marry. And if you did, you would only marry for money, and you would never have children. And I start my story by saying that because we come up with this decision of abortion for many reasons. Both parents were addicts. My sexual trauma happened when I was 8 years old. I had my first abortion when I was 16, and the shame, the fear, the guilt, the shock of it all was extremely overwhelming. I could describe the circumstances specifically. However, please hear me when I say I felt alone and didn't know where to go or who to run to. I didn't think my mom could help me. My mom had already had 3 abortions. I knew that at a very young age. My mom didn't have things I thought would make for a good home, so I wasn't going to go to her to ask for help or some good advice. She was a single mom living on welfare. I had never been taken to church by either one of my parents. My father was a heroin addict, my mother an alcoholic. I didn't have the best upbringing that way. How was I supposed to bring a child into that kind of home? I knew that much. I knew of God, and I knew He was holy and would not approve of me having sex outside of marriage. I knew that much. I was in high school, and my best friend and boyfriend gave me one option that day when I found out I was pregnant, and that was to abort. Many of girls my age were having abortions. It was not a secret at school. My friends said, "It's not a baby, it's just a blob of tissue. It's going to be okay. I've done it a few times. I'll go with you." So my boyfriend and her, it was like a shopping day or a whatever day. But inside I was dead and lonely and scared. I'm on my way to abort a baby, and they're acting like it's no big deal. We all went together. I was quiet and numb. Everyone was acting so oblivious to what I was going to do. There is something to be said that the abnormal becomes normal. My mom did have those 3 abortions, and I too followed in her footsteps. I kept silent. Nobody else would know my dirty secret. I had 2 abortions from that same boyfriend, and the pain and the grief and the pretend and that feeling of don't say anything and nobody will ever know. By the time I was 23, I had 3. As I said, my decision to abort took me to a place of self-harm and reckless behavior. I felt murderous. I became a drug addict, a drug dealer. I almost felt unstoppable. I had no feelings, I had no emotions. My self-harm was out of control. This seems to follow an abortion. I had felt dead inside. I know now that's called post-abortion distress syndrome. I know that now. Pain demands a response, and we all respond in this lifetime. The question is, how are you responding? And that's how I was responding. We just push it all down and we don't deal with any of it. I turned to the Lord when I was 24, and my life changed drastically. I knew God had forgiven me for the abortion, but there was something going on inside of my body. There wasn't a day that went by that I didn't think about those 3 babies in heaven. I knew they were in heaven now. They were babies. They weren't a blob of tissue and a nothing. They mattered. I did wonder why God didn't give me a little girl. He gave me 3 handsome boys and not a girl. And it hit me one day. That's not true. I did have a girl. My mom took me to abort her. That was the truth. I knew then I needed to get alone with God and let Him go into the darkest places of my trauma and my secret. Secrets are not good. There's something to be said. You're as sick as your secrets, and your secrets make you sick. I was very sick. So much more I know now on this side of healing. How does something that is a woman's right hurt so much? Women who choose abortion for what they consider all the right reasons at the time are not exempt from mourning the loss of her child. I know there are many women out here who want to help those who have chosen abortion, and that's great. I pray that you would get help for your trauma, your abortions, before you help someone else. I'll never be quiet again. I will never be silenced again. I will never be shushed again. I will help anybody who wants help. I'm here, and it's my greatest desire to help somebody. You know, Linda Cochran writes abortion was taken out of the back alley medically when it was made legal in 1973. Spiritually speaking, abortion is still in the back alley. It is a decision that is surrounded by secrecy and shame even today. Many women like myself suffered a spiritual crisis following abortion. And I pray that I will not be silent no more. Thank you.